Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Bottom left hand corner, we have the man, Nesh, starting as the green Terran. Upper left hand corner, we have Tim starting as the blue Protoss. I think previous match, who was it? I said Sterling versus Urbon was the most interesting match of round one. I was wrong, it's this one. You have Tim, who was an S-rank Protoss, I believe, at various points in time, going up against Nesh, who is, I think he's A right this second, but he was definitely one of the better Terran in North America. He's a very, very good player, is what I want to emphasize. An excellent player and a veteran. And I actually, it was funny, it was him and Raz. They usually hang out and party quite a bit at these events. I am sometimes blessed to be able to get to hang out and be a part of that at some point. But I will say that both, how do I put this? You can tell the guys who are really serious about it, like a tournament and things like that, because they will, the night before, get some rest. Whereas the guys are like, I stand a chance, but I don't know that I'm going to make it. They will go out and they'll party. And as a result, the guys who get the rest oftentimes will come back the next day. I advised them both this time around, and a few other players. I'm like, hey, party day 2. Just relax the first day, party day 2. Especially because I felt like Raz and Nesh had a pretty good shot. So definitely, I think the favorite striker, but very close. Raz, Nesh, actually Tim, arguable in that vector. Anyway, gateway opener and a gas at 133 for Tim, a gas pretty quick alongside that from Nesh, actually grabbing his gas on, I think that was on 11 supply for Nesh, wanting to get that 11 gas so he can get that factory out a little bit faster and have, I think what that does is that cuts, well, I think that ends up cutting into at some point the amount of Marines you can throw out, if I recall. Don't ask me Terran build orders. Point being, it's a fast gas that will speed up the Vulture out on the map, but that might slow down Marines on the map by a few seconds or something along those lines. That is the gist of that, I believe. But don't quote me on that overall. But basically, I think that's to get that Vulture out as rapidly as possible. Nesh going, which makes sense on Radion. Big map, want to make sure that Vulture gets out and can play. But anyway, and it could be I just missed it all together. It was in fact on 12, in which case, scratch all that anyway. Cybernetic core warping in here. Tim, so keep in mind, Tim hasn't been part of what was the meta shift in between. I'm just now noticing this gigantic fork going through the Nexus, and these random swords sticking out of it too. What are they doing with the Nexus power thing? Is it just kind of like to slap it and make it work? Where it's like stick a sword in it? Is that like the Protoss version of make the thing work? Anyway, only a single probe on gas here, by the way. So I think Tim is planning on going gateway into expand. I did want to comment, which actually could be pretty rough against 3 Marine Vulture here to start. Nesh actually checking up right in corner. Nesh, or Tim a little bit behind, potentially on the build order cycle. So the space he might have missed is the ways to play against upgrade Terran potentially. I think upgrade Terran was the main thing last time he was playing a lot out there, and it looks like it is in fact going to be one gateway into expand, by the way, with range along the way. But effectively, so there was Gateway Man, or there was Gateway Man that was very popular. There was Terran, the upgrade Terran was a big thing. There, we have that Vulture out. Man, first scout from Tim with the Dragoon gets a shot off, 2 shots on the Vulture, but the Vulture still makes its way out. Tim is going to rejoin. He needs to be a little bit careful with these 3 Marines, which is why this has become a popular build order. SCV able to cycle in and get eyes on everything and see, and able to confirm that it is in fact a fast Nexus. But Tim now in trouble because the Dragoon's out of position. The Vulture has greater speed. And, well, okay, now the question, does Nesh want to dedicate? No, he's going to go ahead and back off. I think that's the wise call here. He could have maybe snuck in and gotten a probe or 2, like suicided in and gotten a probe or 2. Looks like we have the robotics facility dropping in the midst of this, by the way. But he would have ended up losing 3 mines, basically. And actually, Tim finding the Vulture again, is that Vulture going to be able to sneak out of range? Is critical. Considering Nesh, again, with 11 gas, he really wants to keep that Vulture alive. SCV is going to be able to, never mind it, get sniped on the way out. Vulture is now hanging out mid-map. Tim unrelenting trying to find this Vulture, though. Let's see if this additional Dragoon comes from the north, if they're just going to hold short. They have to be a little bit careful. You got 3 Dragoons staged out. And Machine Shop just dropping natural expansion just about up, by the way, and we have a lot of Cruft on the front. Marines not in the bunker as of yet. Interesting bunker here from Nesh. So he saw that it was robotics, I'm wondering if he could have waited on that a little bit. He knows better than I. Second gateway dropping in the midst of this. But anyway, going back, upgrade Terran was the big thing. I think the last time Tim was really playing in the meta, and I don't know that he really witnessed the 3-base, what is it, 3-base 8-gate effective play, or the transition of kind of that middling, like going for either 6 gates or 9 gates effectively into 4 bases on occasion. Also Terran going into, ooh, a control tower with drops, by the way, here from Nesh. With mines, so skipping siege tanks early. Hopefully this doesn't blow up in his face. It is only 2 gate, but the problem with drops like this is what it does open up. So we're gonna have mines, we're gonna have drops. What it does open up is an opportunity for Dragoons to then press down into the natural expansion after the vultures are cleaned up. It looks like Nesh has dropped some mines in between to provide some defense. He's wandering up to, he wanted to pick up the vultures here. He's slow moving them across, no speed, has dropped 3 mines, and unfortunately that's really going to disrupt the drop. Dragoons swarming on these vultures now, and that's unfortunate for Nesh. Now that what would have been the drop is going to have, and I don't think he can afford, it looks like he is going to build some more vultures, but this is, he lost a lot of mines that did not get planted there. That was disaster town for Nesh. Absolute disaster. In the meantime, robotics support bay. We did have an observatory first, but it looks like, do we have an observer? Okay, we do have an observer going to make its way out to go ahead and clear out that 3 o'clock. We have a shuttle, however, being built alongside to get a reaver out in the field. So it looks like, so I take that, this is semi-modern. I think the robotics goes a little bit earlier for most builds though, to get that reaver out a little bit earlier. So I think Tim is caught up on things, is I guess what I wanted to say. He's playing semi-modern, but in the meantime, Nesh, with that drop, that's critically what that does is building those extra vultures. Those weren't siege tanks. And so I'm very, very concerned that unless Nesh has an absolute miracle drop, that he's going to be so far behind in the siege tank count here in the mid game. Dropship, the vulture's still trying to find their way in. Okay, now scooped up, and they are going to be, he needs a lot of damage from this though. A lot of damage from this. There are no Dragoons back here, and accidentally targeted the pylon with the first shot. Now getting a lot of probe kills, but even with 4 probe kills, I don't know that that's going to be sufficient. He needs more. Rescooping up, he's going to exit with the vultures he's got, but he's running right into that Dragoon wall. Vulture drops do not save the dropship, and Tim has to feel very, very comfortable in the midst of this. In fact, I would feel so comfortable if I was him. Never mind, Nesh making something out of nothing and able to get a single vulture, veteran vulture. Oh, probes are on the hunt though. They know there's only 5 health there. So Nesh, feisty, making it happen. Good on him. But yeah, I'm expecting the turnaround is as Tim now fields the observer forward, clears the mines between point A and point B, and takes up residence outside that natural expansion with a lot of aggression. Nesh has dropped a second machine shop. He needs that desperately to really surface a larger siege tank count than he's currently got. Single Wraith provide some spotting, or maybe to be, and I think that's going to be an anti-shuttle Wraith potentially, but we got all sorts of Dragoons crashing down. These tanks are going to have to siege on the high ground. Is siege even upgraded? I don't know that siege tech's even upgraded. Tanks not sieging here. SCV's not able to get to the bunker, and yeah, this was my concern with the follow-up. It looks like siege was finished. 2 siege tanks on the low ground. Still able to get that drop. The Wraith working on the Reaver on the high ground, but the 2 siege tanks have been cleaned up otherwise. At least the Reaver is gone, but there's still Dragoons breaching that natural expansion and getting all sorts of havoc and damage done. I think that is going to be game. Tim also has, even if it's not, Tim has a 3rd base on top of this. Siege tank there at the north. Zealots streaming their way down. And Nesh just kind of clinging on. Yeah, things just did not go well for him in the midst of this. Still fighting it out against Hope here. He does have Cloak going, but I don't think Cloak is going to provide him anything. Group repair from the SCVs. This natural expansion's gone. We have 30 workers left otherwise. 3rd base, by the way, about halfway finished. So it doesn't look like it's going to be a game end, maybe, but it is certainly not a winning spot here for Nesh. Unsieging it, refusing to die. By the way, if you're wondering how hard it is to kill Terran on occasion, this in the mid game, it's this hard. It's this hard on occasion. There's the GG. Nesh finally throwing the towel in, but man. Oof. Yeah, I wish I had predicted that differently, but unfortunately I feel like it's the dark mirror of casting on occasion. But anyway, that first drop getting disrupted was huge, and just, yeah, didn't get enough damage done, unfortunately. Good play from Tim, though. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Going to the score screen accidentally. Thanks for listening.